Buckling to demands of protesters, Whole Foods has announced that it will stop using prison labor by April of 2016. Whole Foods currently partners with a company called Colorado Correctional Industries, or CCI. Part of the Colorado Department of Corrections, CCI boasted in its 2014 annual report that their, quote, success is completely dependent on the business savvy of our staff and the dedication of our inmate workforce. The business savvy of your staff? Please, CCI, you're selling farm-raised tilapia and artisan goat cheese to soccer moms and Volvos at Whole Foods who will pay double the margin without even noticing, and using prisoners who make about 74 cents a day. Calling that business savvy is like calling a cotton plantation in the antebellum South an all-expenses-paid utopian commune. I'm sorry, CCI, but we have laws against importing products from foreign companies who use slave labor. Why should we allow it here in the U.S.? For example, I wrote this report, and I'm going to edit this video on an Apple product, a company where I understand that among the benefits they provide their workers in their dormitories are suicide nets. But at least they're not slaves, right? And Americans have clearly drawn a line in the sand and made their peace with this issue. Now, suppose you are a company who wants to sell products to consumers who seek the Made in the USA label. Companies like CCI will provide you with prisoners to replace the Made in Honduras label with a Made in USA label, comfortable knowing that if any prisoners speak out against the practice, as they did in a California prison, that those prisoners will be placed in solitary confinement, a form of torture that U.S. prisons inflict on 80,000 people a day. Prison slave labor isn't just limited to tilapia and goat cheese at Whole Foods. Its influence bolsters the bottom line of some of the richest companies in the world. When BP's homicidal negligence and willful misconduct created the worst offshore oil spill in U.S. history, it devastated the regional economy. But BP had the resources to clean up the Gulf and put people back to work. As this ad campaign shows, cue the heartwarming comeback, America is Great music, please.
More than 2 years ago, the people of BP made a commitment to the Gulf, and every day since, we've worked hard to keep it. Today, the beaches and Gulf are open for everyone to enjoy. We've shared what we've learned so we can all produce energy more safely. BP's also committed to America. We support nearly 250,000 jobs and invest more here than anywhere else. We're working to fuel America for generations to come. Our commitment has never been stronger.
And that commitment was achieved through the underreported but widely practiced policy of using prison labor. As Abe Louise Young, writing in The Nation, pointed out, quote, hiring prison labor is more than a way for BP to save money while cleaning up the biggest oil spill in history. By tapping into the inmate workforce, BP and its subcontractors get workers who are not only cheap, but easily silenced. And they get lucrative tax write-offs in the process. But back to Whole Foods. While activists can rightfully claim victory in pressuring one company to disavow the use of prison labor, the demand for prison labor is growing. CCI currently has 1,800 inmates on its payroll, pulling in less than $1 a day, and it's aiming to double the program in the next decade. It's a fact not lost on Michael Allen of the group End Mass Incarceration and one of the organizers of the protest at the Whole Foods in Houston that resulted in a shift of Whole Foods practices, who said at the protest, quote, we realize the use of prison labor is part of the broader problem of capitalist exploitation, and that we can only emancipate prisoners by ending capitalism. However, we're protesting today to draw attention to the fact that Whole Foods market exploits prison labor to generate massive profits to draw attention to the larger systemic causes. Dennis Dunsmore, who runs the recidivism program at CCI, defends his program, which houses a private company, Quixotic Farming, within a massive complex of 6 prisons, by pointing out that the recidivism rate is lower for those inmates who raise the tilapia for 74 cents a day to get to the tables of Whole Foods consumers.
The Colorado, the regular general population, the offenders that do not work for CCI, their recidivism rate right now is 46.6. And when you come through a Colorado or through a correctional industry program, we cut that number in half.
But cutting the recidivism rate in half means working within a prison state system that doesn't ask why. As the so-called freest nation in the world, we imprison 25% of the global population when we make up only 5% of the people on the planet. It's time to start asking why we are locking people up in the first place and why we tolerate a clearly malignant system that amounts to government-sanctioned slave plantation 2.0. Additional underwriting support is provided by Occupy.com, a news and media channel amplifying the voices of the global 99%. Find out more at Occupy.com and tell them that Dennis sent you.